knows? Yeah, my feeling is we had to have help. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that is where I think what's been going on. We've had help with alien races or some alien races. It's been giving us information and showing us how to do it. Like fiber optics, for example, appeared out of almost nowhere. The integrated circuit chips, all of a sudden from tube to transistor to integrated circuit chips. And now integrated circuit chips, right, that are so small you have to look at them as a magnifying glass. But that chip now can do everything that like 30 chips would have to do 15 years ago.
Right, and then you got Kevlar night vision, and look at the implants that they're putting in people. You imagine if we had that technology of that chip, of the implants that aliens are putting in people, compared to our technology. Oh my goodness!
And what are the implants for? I mean, again, I've talked to like Timothy Cullen. I've had other guests, on the show. Like I said, I've had a lot of people that have been abducted or claim they have been. And, the thing is with the implant, what are they monitoring? Or is it like we tag an implant a dolphin or some wildlife with a transmitting device? Or is it actually reading your thoughts? And maybe they're trying to figure out what humans are all about, your functions, your day-to-day life, your emotions, your feelings, what you go through. Is that maybe what an implant does?
I got to tell you, in my opinion, I think that they're so advanced that I think their implant covers it all. I think it can tell what you're doing. It can see what you're doing. It can monitor all your biological things. It can track you. You name it. I think it even knows what you're thinking. I think their implant is so far advanced, it covers. It's a one-stop shop. It does it all. Compared to our little implant, like they're putting in, you can scan and open a lock or something. Ours is like covered wagon to their flying saucer chip. That's what I think anyway.
Well, don't you think after a certain period of time of let's say a humanoid race coming down, right, implanting people, right? Why would they keep implanting people? Wouldn't the couple subjects do, or a couple thousand or a couple hundred? I mean, why would they keep implanting? That's abducting. Why would they keep still abducting different people unless they're harvesting something from people?
And I think our government's got a lot of feet in a lot of different waters. In other words, I think they've got a lot of deals with a lot of different species of aliens, and they've all got their own little agendas. So they are overlapping all these different things, so to speak. I don't think there's just one race that we've got to deal with. I think there's a few of them, I'll be honest with you.
Well, yeah, because the descriptions I've had from different people, you got your grays, then you have something that looks like a gray, only smaller. Then you got ones that kind of look like humans, but kind of like whitish. Then you got the ones that look like, the bug, which I don't know.
Mantis.
Yeah, I don't.
Mantis. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't buy that one. I really don't. But maybe I'm wrong there too. But it just makes me wonder. I know we put it this way. I like I mentioned so many times. I think originally our planet before humans evolved. Okay, I don't believe the theory that man came from ape. I don't believe that even the prehistoric man turned into us. I just don't feel that way. I sometimes wonder and think about, our planet was rich with resources and elements. Maybe a dying planet that would need, like gold, for example, silver. We use that in all electronics. Without silver or gold, you're not going to have a computer working. Yeah, and our resources, silver, is really getting thin on our planet. But just think about that. Then you go through when the Spaniards, right, went through and conquered, all these areas and took all and plundered all their gold. Why did they have so much gold? What did gold mean to these people? Like the Incas and all these stuff. What did the gold mean to them? Other than they probably, going back generations and generations, were probably slaves for that maybe could have been brought here from a race of aliens that were mining the earth, and that they were mining the earth for those elements, and that kind of they realized, hey, that gold is worth something. It's important. And that's probably why they had all these stashes of gold that the Spaniards went crazy about and killed them all to get their gold. And that's my feeling. Now, I could be 100% totally out there.
No, those are actually, I've thought about that 30 years ago. Those are all legit theories. And actually, I think, what's his name? Stitchin, I think, had a lot of similar theories about that. Because you're right. If you think about it, it's not just the Mayans and the Incas, it's also the Egyptians and even the Chinese. You're talking thousands of years ago, they all had this gold. Why would they want gold? But like you say, if these aliens come down and made them slaves to dig it because they needed it for their atmosphere, and then once they were done with them left, well, it's still in their brain, hey, this was valuable to them. Maybe we like it, it's valuable to us. Or maybe they were thinking, just kept that thought, and maybe, hey, they'll come back again, because obviously if they were here, when they were here, they did a lot of things. Like I still don't buy that, primitive man 5,000 years ago with no wheel took, 20 million average 5 to 20 ton blocks, cut them perfectly, and made pyramids out of them. It's just, I don't think we can make the pyramids today with the equipment we have.
We can't duplicate it. We absolutely can't. And, I've had Myers on the show who, claims that the Great Pyramid was a water pump. He has his theory is that they dug canals, filled it with water, put these great big blocks on it, and then brought it up. But you know what? It still doesn't make sense how they could build a pyramid the height they did. And everything was so accurately, put in place that we can't even do it today. So that tells me that there had to be some other type of technology. I just can't believe that the Egyptians or pre-Egyptians or whoever built the pyramids had that capability on their own, that have that type of knowledge. I just don't believe that could have happened. They had to have help from somewhere. And that's why I was mentioning that the Earth, I think one time was visited by aliens. I don't know, maybe multiple different species of aliens to plunder our planet. And, at a certain level, it wasn't feasible anymore. Just like anything, right? You got to mine, and you mine it out for gold or silver. And after you spend more money trying to get it out, it's not worth it. The same way with them. They came down here, they got what they could get that was easy, and left, to them what the technology, whatever. It wasn't worth their time, energy to, keep going on and trying to get little pockets of gold, for example, when they were probably harvesting huge amounts of, those gold and silver.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing about them pyramids that a lot of people don't realize, inside the big pyramid, you got the Queen's Chamber and the King's Chamber and all these great big rooms and pockets. Do you know that the technology and the math and the hardness and the difficulty of the math it's got to go into precisely making that so that pyramid doesn't cave in, and the way they've got it laid. I mean, it's just astronomical. Blows my mind how that could even be made today, not to mention thousands of years ago.
And that's the whole point. I don't think they had the capability of doing it. They had help, or they were the slaves, and we had, again, alien species that, the pyramids, it could be anything from basically landing points or, directions. Even in Africa, if you're up in a plane and you look down, there's this one area that there's like pictures of humanoids, that you can only see from the sky. Or it looks like a landing, like if you're on an airplane and you're going to the airport, and you see all these little lights and, for a mile or two before you hit the airport. The same way in Africa, there's this one place there. It looks like a runaway or a directional thing, to where they could land. And face it, the time that was developed, why we didn't have the technology. Humans at that point, no way. Now, The Sphinx, I mentioned this on my show numerous times. They came to a conclusion now, the latest, is that it was under the ocean. Okay? If that was under the ocean at one point, because the wear marks in the back for years and years and years, they said, oh no, that was created from sand blowing on it. Now they come to conclusion those wear marks on the back of the Sphinx were caused by water movement.
Water.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, they already know that area was underwater. That predates it to man. So it's a lot of questions here, and we don't have the answers. So I don't, you know, I'm to the, you know, again, I'm going to get in trouble, and I'm going to get a lot of emails and texts. But I don't buy Adam and Eve, number one, because it doesn't make logical sense that we were created from Adam and Eve, and everything just went there because everything, the Sphinx, the pyramids, a whole bunch of different things actually counteract or contradict the, you know, that way of thinking. And again, I think basically the prehistoric man probably died off. And what we have is our human race that started advancing more than then were slaves or, that were maybe brought from another planet. And then they multiplied naturally. You know how sex is. If you get a male and a female and you put them together, you got babies. So I think yeah, unless you get older, then that part goes away. Or you do a talk show host where you're up at night and you don't have time. But it makes more logical sense. They brought in thousands of slaves to harvest all the elements off the earth. And it would have been more than thousands. They probably bought tens of thousands because to mine the whole earth, okay? Again, I don't know what type of technology they had or could have, you know, but they plundered the earth of what they could, and then they didn't need the humanoids anymore. They left them. So, you know, right. Just like you get two cows, a male and a female, pretty soon, you know, a few years later, you got a herd. I think that's probably what happened here on our planet. Now, I could be 100% wrong, but you know what? That's just my view, because I just look at all these things that contradict each other.
Well, let me run another scenario by you. You know, we got the story about Noah's Ark, two of everything, right? Well, you know, it doesn't logically make sense. I don't care how big that boat is. You're going to get two of everything to survive a flood to start life all over. But however, if you had that same size boat and you had two of everything in DNA form, think how much more you could get in that boat to start over. You see what I'm saying with that?
Well, just like the seed bank, okay, in Antarctica and a few other places, okay?
Yep.
I can see the DNA that way, you know. It was, you know, preserved. But then again, I don't know why they just didn't take the DNA. And maybe, you look at this, maybe that's what's been going on for the last 30, 40 years with our planet right now. Maybe they realize we're not going to be around much longer. And so they're basically harvesting DNA so they can, you know, basically after we're not here at a given point, they can bring back, you know, different facets of what our planet was. Bring back the humans, bring back the cattle, bring back the deer, the birds, you name it.
A whole lot of scary scenarios you can just run off with in theories, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, it's no worse than a lot of the, you know, people's theories.
Yeah.
If you go on Facebook, these people, including myself, they all have theories. But I think some of what I'm saying does make more logical sense because, you know, again, why would, you know, the Incas and the Mayas and all that stuff be so intrigued with gold and have, you know, their big stashes of gold? Other than they had to realize it was worth something. Why not pewter and lead and brass and copper?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree totally. And then some of the pyramids, like the Chinese pyramid and the Mayan ones, they're finding a lot of mercury in them. So why is that? And that's a connection that's thousands of miles apart. Mercury, there's some kind of mercury connection too that they found going on.
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes you think a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I do know this much, that I know that today we can't build those pyramids, so how the heck did they do it? You know, cut perfectly, 20-ton rocks, drag them across mountains 200 miles,